always tell when a streak's going to come to an end. You win a couple of games, you probably shouldn't.
There are teams out there that could use that quality of playoff goaltending. All right, Ray, you ready to do this?
Yep, let's go.
Powered by Rev Media in partnership with TSN, it is Season 7. Wrapping up Season 7 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Tim Hortons. Welcoming the newest addition to the popular frozen quencher lineup, Poppin' Frozen Quenchers. Truly unique drinks. They explode with popping candies that are blended throughout, heaped on top. Creates a sensory experience, we're told, in this refreshingly icy and creamy drink. There's Ray Ferraro joining us live on this edition of the Ray and Dregs podcast. How are you doing? You got a new hat, Ray and Dregs, new merch, looking like a bazillion bucks.
Yeah, just time to get into the summer, right? Get going. Watched the little trade center today. A little different without Duthie. Got to say, Brian Hayes does a good job.
Good job. Yeah.
He's really good. Watched you guys for a while. Flipped over to the soccer, which was amazing. And happy Canada Day. How about you though? Your heels out the door of TSN, not to be seen till September. That's a good day, eh?
So this is how privileged we are, and I am. So we wrap up our coverage live on TV relatively early, and we're still kind of plodding along on X and following on social media and whatnot. And then I remember I've got an overdrive slot at 5 p.m. Eastern, and it's like 4 o'clock Eastern. And so I text the producer. I'm like, come on, man, you got to get me on early. I can't sit here for an hour. To which basically I got to buzz off. You're
Right.
slotted for 5 o'clock with the overdrive guys, and they're going to bring that final hour home before they call it. So anyway, that was the extent of my day. And then drove, and I'm not complaining about the weather because every part of this country, North America, has been touched by crazy weather to this point of the year, right? We're heading to the Cabbage, and man, it's ridiculous. There's flooding all around us there. The Cabbage is fine, but you just feel for the people that are touched by it, right? Because it's devastating in so many ways. So I get home, drive through a bit of a monsoon to get to Brooklyn, Ontario. And I get here, it's all right. Just quickly grab my bag, grab my stuff, run into the house, get through the rain, look out in the backyard instantly. And there's this ginormous tree that has fallen from the conservation forest beside me and toppled my fence and is literally like strewn all over my yard. And I'm like, first thing that came to mind, Ray, wasn't the damage and looking, oh, geez, what a mess that is. That's going to be expensive. Again, privileged. I'm like, how am I going to deal with this before I got to drive west in the morning? Like, I don't have time for this kind of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll figure it out. It'll all be good.
I have a question. It's that you're describing that scene. Any chance Holly heard the tree fall?
Apparently not. No.
Yeah, that's what
I saw it.
No.
I saw it. I'm like, can we notice? Like, it's not a willow that just kind of leaned against the fence. Anyway, the best thing, and you're probably through this, everybody listening has been through this kind of stuff where there's nothing you can do about it. So you just shrug your shoulders and go. And the good thing is I've got a guy, Craig, who cuts the grass while we're away. And normally I do it. I sent him a picture. I'm like, can you manage this? He goes, yeah, don't worry about it, man. We'll clean that up for you. So
when you get back August 28th, when you roll back in, or September 10th, that'll all be done. It'll be good. Yeah.
Man, what I was going to say day, because it was active today with trades and with free agents signings and all of that. But really, it's been a really active couple of weeks. It really, truly has been. And, far overachieved what anyone, I think, expected this time of year would be like a couple of months ago. And there's a myriad of theories on why that might be. It doesn't matter. But let's dive into some of it here, Ray, in our Canadian Brewhouse headlines. Hey, everybody knows, at least real fans who are at the Canadian Brew House know that you've got to arrive early because happy hour at the Brew House runs Monday to Saturday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Skip the couch, hit the Canadian Brew House. Your home for every goal, every cheer, and every signing and trade. And man, there was lots of it. So we're going to dart around. Because on this Canada Day, there was a lot going on, not just in hockey, but you've got the World Cup of soccer. I mean, we're pulled and in so many different directions with everything that's going on. Hard to know where to start, but I want to start with the Maple Leafs because, I mean, John Chaika has sliced and diced this front office and now the roster, right? And let's start with the most notable addition, I think, to the Toronto Maple Leafs at this point, Sergei Bobrovsky, who signs a 3-year, $21 million contract. And it's pretty obvious, even though Bob is certainly in the back nine, end of his career, they're banking on goalie Bob having enough left to lead them back to a playoff spot potentially.
I hear all the the talk, and I see his because we have done over the last 3 or 4 years plenty of Florida games. You watch that guy prepare, you watch his dedication and commitment to the detail of his craft, and he really is very, very unique. I mean, lots of goalies have a process that's very detailed. Bob's like next level, but he's 40. And last year, there were goals that would go in that look very un-Bob like. And to me, it's the first stages of a guy that's just getting a little older. Now, he can't play the number of games that he's played in the past, and I think that's pretty clear. Now, you've got a tandem of him and Stolarz that have played together. Stolarz has to be able to play 35 games. I mean, he has to.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, they have the young guy that can come up and down without waivers from the minors. So you can stretch Bob's time off between games. And I think that would be part of the plan with him, would be to try and stretch the time off that you can give him to get the maximum from him that you can. And for a long period of time, the goalie position in Toronto has been a bit of a duck and a weave, and you hope you've got it right. And they hope for stability and growth from the other guys behind Bob. I mean, it's easy to knock every signing that you see. I see this as a positive, but they really do have to manage him. They have to manage and clearly they will, the fact that he's 40 years old. If you like it, advanced numbers, his goals saved below expected, like the expected goals was way below what it should have been. It was the worst of his career. And some of that maybe is the Panthers and the state they were in. Some of it's him. But to me, it's not a crazy swing by them.
Okay, so other additions in Toronto, and there were subtractions too, right? There were trades, players got moved out. Nick Paul is traded from the Tampa Bay Lightning for Dennis Hildeby and a couple of draft picks, a 3rd and a 4th round draft pick. They signed Jack Roslovic, Colton Sissons, Teddy Blueger, and I don't get the sense that Toronto was done yet. So any of those names, because it's hard to go through all of them with so much that went on around the National Hockey League. But when you hear that group of names, what do you think of now? Will the Toronto Maple Leafs better? They're certainly different, but do you think that they will be better without knowing what else John Chaika might have up his sleeve?
Well, add Brandon Duhaime to that too. And I think you've got
Correct. Yeah.
a clear attempt of dividing a top and a bottom half of the lineup, try to role define the players a little more clearly, and not asking someone that's never checked that, hey, you're going to be a checker for us. So I've watched Teddy Blueger for the years he's in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Diligent, hard worker, zero air in the room. He's a leader in his effort. Sissons is the same way. You're going to get a combined 15 goals from them. Like, they're not there to score. Duhaime's not going to get 20 goals. He's not there to score. They're there to create energy, to have a tenacity to their game to kill penalties. I believe part of this is that the goal of stretching Matthews into this 200-foot, 22-minute player is dead. And that to me is totally fine, because
Yeah.
I want the Matthews of the 60 goal Matthews. And I'll get somebody else to check, and I'll get somebody else to kill penalties. And if his
Yeah.
minutes go down to 18 or 19 and he springboards back up to right around 50 goals, then it's an absolute win for them. But these guys are not, outside of Duhaime, they're not fast. Nick
No.
Paul, Sissons, Blueger are not fast. So that'll drag your team speed down a little bit. I get what they're doing. We'll see. You mentioned, you don't feel that they're done. Well, we'll see what
Yeah.
the other parts of this puzzle are as the summer rolls around.
Yeah, and look, when Canada Day started, there was reason and excellent sourcing to connect Toronto to the possibility of Zach Werenski. We know what happened. There was a deal with Dallas. Werenski just doesn't see the fit from a family perspective. Thomas Harley, part of a deal that would have, come to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So now you've got the Werenski situation, and it seems like it's in the rearview mirror now. Start of the day, it wasn't. Start of the day, I like Toronto thought that they had a chance. Tampa Bay was probably nibbling at the edges, thinking, okay, this is going to play itself out. And then as the day goes on, Werenski and his agent, Judd Moldaver, have a call with Don Waddell, the GM of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And collectively, they just go, you know what, let's just pump the brakes here. Let's settle things down, because frankly, it's getting out of hand. Like it's too chaotic. And then you've got Werenski, Ray, who issues a statement and basically says, I love Columbus. I've been here for 10 years. I'm aligned with Don Waddell. I don't want to go anywhere. Well, that's not how the picture was painted over the last several days. But automatically, as we're talking about Werenski, I'm like, okay, well, the one guy that's sitting here going, well, how is he going to fit in here is Darren Radish, who just got traded and signs that mega deal at 8 years at 8.5. And I'm pretty sure he thinks he's going to be the top option on the power play. So maybe the whole Werenski thing can be pushed aside, at least for the foreseeable future.
What a mess. Like it is a mess. And it's tough to bury or put water back in the bottle, right? Like once it's out, it's out. And
yeah,
I hope for Columbus's sake that they can, that they can settle things down a little bit. 2 years ago, when they almost made the playoffs, they made that huge run. And man, they looked like they had something going. Now they got this Werenski thing. Boone Jenner leaves, their longtime captain, and he's gone to Washington. There's whispers about Marchenko and whether he's a long-term guy there. And you're like, man, can they ever get things upright? Like they seem close so many times, and they can't get enough stability there to start to build what, if you look historically over the guys that have left there, should be a pretty good team. They've had some amazing talents go through Columbus.
Edmonton Oilers, some tidy work, but man, it took some heavy lifting too to get what they needed to get done, right? I know that management of the Oilers were frustrated coming out of the draft weekend, Ray, because Darnell Nurse supplied a 3-team list. And my understanding is Stan Bowman just exhausted any sort of negotiation with those 3 teams. It just wasn't going to work with those 3 teams. And at that point, and to this point of the week, Darnell just wasn't willing to expand. And then news breaks that, okay, he has expanded. All right. He expands by a team, the San Jose Sharks. And not too long after, Darnell Nurse is traded to the San Jose Sharks. And most importantly, Edmonton doesn't have to retain money on that contract. So in that sense, it's a win for both, right? Darnell obviously wanted a change. He requested the trade. The Oilers can use this cap space. They land a goalie in Levi from the Buffalo Sabres. But does it feel to you that that's an area that they still have to address? And now maybe have the cap space and the wherewithal to either bring somebody in or make a trade and bring somebody in. If not in goal, then other areas. And they've got some flexibility now to work with.
Well, if you were ranking the goalie tandems 1 through 32 in the league, and I said, where's your tandem of Tristan Jarry and Devin Levi?
Yeah.
You're in the bottom 10.
Okay.
Right? Like, so like I do think that there's work to do there. Now they signed Ryan Shea, another guy that I watched a lot this year, last couple of years. When Mike Sullivan was the coach in Pittsburgh, the way their defense was structured, Shea was a third pair right side defenseman, and he was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did fine. He's a good skater. He's big, like covers a lot of ground. And then they change coaches. Dan Muse comes in. He moves Shea to the left side, his natural side, and he just took off.
Okay.
He's better than people would know. He's not a big point guy, but he can move the puck. He can defend. He can kill penalties. He'll close plays. I think he's a real stable guy for them. I like that. But that's so they blow out $9.5 million or 9.25 on Nurse. They bring in, I think, 4.5 on Shea. So they still have a few $1 million, whatever Mohamedoulan makes. By the way, I practiced that name at the World Juniors 1 year. But he shows up and I'm like, to Gord, I said, Gord Miller, I go, Gord, look at this. It's like an alphabet test. And so we kind of worked our way through that. But, whatever he can be, he was a high pick by Jersey back in the day. He's still young. Like, can he be a player? I guess they're going to find out. Edmonton's got some work to do amongst the Babcock thing. And we'll see what type of team they end up with the training camp, because it doesn't feel like that's a finished product.
Yeah. What do you think of the Marcus Pettersson trade? So he goes from Vancouver to the New York Rangers for a conditional first in 2030. Now he had to waive to make this deal happen. Just timing, knowing that, Vancouver's in a place where this is a better opportunity for him. So take advantage.
Sure. So this is a two-part deal, though, because they get the first rounder from the Rangers, albeit 4 years from now. That takes the 5 years of Pettersson's contract off the books. They signed Jamie Oleksiak. This is the second part of the deal for 2 years at $4 million. So they save $1 million, but to me, that's not it. It's the saving the extra years on the contract. And by then, the hope would be that their younger D are up on their feet and able to not need the support that they need right now. So for Vancouver, I think since Ryan Johnson's taken over, they've had a number of good moves that they've made and implemented. But man, they're just basically crawling out of the basement here.
Yeah.
Like there's no fast path, but you can see what the path is.
Yeah. And they bring in Gallagher, Luke Shen is assigned.
Yep.
So, they've got some good character guys to just work through this process.
Drake's there trying to change the way they do business on a day-to-day basis in and around that locker room. And that's part of the reason that Gallagher and Shen are there. And you get enough guys that do the right thing enough times, and you hope it becomes an everyday standard.
Early in the day, the Montreal Canadiens, if we're just temporarily staying in Canada, also made a bit of a splash, I would say. They extend Demidov, Ivan Demidov, 8-year contract extension at averages $9.15 million.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the body of the work, not of Demidov, we've got a glimpse of the type of player he is, and he's going to be a star. He's probably right there now, and who knows where he'll top out. But you do have to look at the collective when you look at the Montreal Canadiens and all of these contracts and all of these young pieces that represent what should be a nice future.
First of all, I love Demidov. he came into the Canadiens lineup in the playoffs 2 years ago. I couldn't believe how confident he was. And when I look at him now, a full year in, and the youth of the core of their team, and they're all signed, none of them at $10 million a year, which, by the way, is crazy to me that that's even a number we throw around. Like I'm like, $10 million. Are you kidding me? Anyway, they're in great shape.
Yeah.
Montreal is. This is, they signed him. This is the last year of the 8-year deal. They get Demidov for the 8 years. I think this contract will play very nicely. That kid is so good.
Yeah, really good.
And here's something to look at. A couple of years ago or 3 years ago when he got drafted, he went 5th. Columbus took Caden Primo, or not Caden Primo, Caden Lidstrom 3rd, and Demidov went 5th. And that feels like a swing and a miss for, we'll see how Lindstrom does. Does he get healthy? He's struggled with back surgery and stuff. And but you can see where you're drafting these 18-year-olds and the volatility of what those picks can all be about.
Yeah. So in Winnipeg, they bring in Stu Skinner, and automatically people are going, oh, here comes Hellebuyck. I mean, in terms of a Hellebuyck trade. And the feedback I got instantly as soon as news broke that Stu Skinner had signed in Winnipeg was, no, hold on a minute here. Just settle down. They knew that they weren't bringing Eric Comrie back, so they had to look after and get some level of experience in their crease. So the slow play with Hellebuyck continues. Best case scenario would be to find a trade fit for Connor Hellebuyck, but it didn't happen on this day. And this is one of those situations, Ray, no different than Dylan Larkin, somewhat similar to Nurse in that they have term left on their contract. Connor Hellebuyck is under contract until 2031. Winnipeg would prefer to get a package back that ticks some of their needs, right? They know that they're not going to hit a grand slam, but I'm good with the Skinner ad in Winnipeg. I am. Worst case, he's a backup to Connor Hellebuyck if that's the way it plays out. But it kind of feels they need it to play out that way.
But you're one injury away from a goalie tandem of two guys that have never played in the league in Winnipeg. Like you need to have some backup plan if Hellebuyck were to be hurt. I don't think that he's long for Winnipeg. My gut feel is that somewhere this summer the deal will come together, and it might be 15 phone calls from now, but there are a couple of teams that still have not finished up, tidied up their goaltending yet, and obviously Hellebuyck is a step up on just about everybody. But I for Winnipeg to go ahead and and sign Skinner, sure, I think that's good business. Now they still haven't found a centerman to play behind Scheifele. It seems a lot to ask an 18-year-old in Viggo Bjork to grab that spot, but that to me seems to be part of the deal that you'd like to put together.
Yeah, and we keep waiting for either Buffalo to circle back. There are all kinds of stories and whispers around the Carolina Hurricanes and the interest they've had in Connor Hellebuyck. So to your point, now the pressure point isn't there anymore. I mean, there's still a considerable need from Winnipeg's perspective because they want to field as a competitive team as they can. But you don't have the pressures of the draft. And now free agency is behind you. I probably took longer than I should have here in the Canadian Brewhouse headlines getting to this. We have an offer sheet, Ray. We have an offer sheet. Yeah, the New Jersey Devils have signed Barrett Hayton to a 1-year, $4.775 offer sheet. So if they are successful, they get Barrett Hayton. Utah gets a second-round draft pick as compensation for this. But Utah has 7 days to first right of refusal. What do you want to do? Do you want to let the player go for a second-round pick, or do you want to match and everybody moves on? These threats are always out there, right? And normally it's on the big guys. Jason Robertson, Leo Carlson, Maverick Bork. There was some talk that maybe Dallas was facing that issue. Pavel Dorofeyev traded from Vegas to the New York Rangers. Again, in part, maybe because of the threat of an offer sheet. So we don't see them very often, but it is sure interesting. Do you like this move by New Jersey in terms of do you see enough in Barrett Hayton to do it?
Oh, I think there is a level that Hayton hasn't even come close to yet. I don't think he's going to be the scorer that number 3 pick in the draft might tell you should be. However, Utah just traded for Vinny Trocheck too, right? So that's a pretty strategic timing for the offer sheet, is that once Utah adds a center, is there room for Hayton in that lineup? And if Utah feels they can use that second round pick either as a pick to make or a pick that they can flip, I don't see that they need a $4.75 million center as much as Jersey does. So you can have, they just re-signed. Jersey did extended Hischier, terrific player, man. I love that guy.
Really good player.
And you've got Hughes, and if you have Hayton, now you have flexibility to bounce Hughes around the lineup to wherever you want to make that line most dangerous. Jersey's got enough holes that I can see why. There are holes in their lineup, but I can see where Hayton would really be a good fit for them. I guess we always hope the offer sheet's going to have some fireworks to it, but this is an underutilized piece that
it is.
I'm always wondering why. Who cares if the other GMs don't like you and they're not going to take you out for dinner? Just do your job. And so I'm always surprised this is not used more frequently.
Well, it's in the mechanics of the collective bargaining agreement. So you try and utilize, every not loophole, every tactic you can. You try and bring that into play. And in this case, the New Jersey Devils are doing that. All right. So Vinny Trocheck goes to Utah for Sean Durzi and a couple of other pieces. And it was interesting. Vinny Trocheck is probably so happy that all of this is behind him. Whether it's Utah now where he's landed, or Buffalo was in the mix, Toronto was speculated. This guy has been going everywhere for the past several months, not just past several days. So I think I asked you this maybe in the last podcast. Vinny still has game left, right? Used in the capacity that he'll be used in Utah. He's a good dude. So again, he'll supply that experience, but still has plenty of pop left in his game.
Yeah, to me, he's a 50 to 60 point centerman. Really good, really good. One of the best face-off guys in the league. Should play on your second power play at the very least. Of course, Utah's got some really, really talented forwards. I like that he adds a little bit of jam, a little bit of FU to their lineup, because I think Utah can use it. And for me, a good move for them. You're right. He must just go, man, thank God this is over, because every day it was Trocheck here, Trocheck there. And now we can start fresh.
By the way, let's just back it up a little bit, because we just had the offer sheet conversation and we openly both agree that we're kind of surprised that teams don't utilize it more often. So Cam Robinson just tweeted, there's a backstory here. He says, sources say Utah and New Jersey had a deal in place for Barrett Hayton at the draft that Utah pulled out of late. So this could be Sonny Mehta of the New Jersey Devils going, okay, hold on a minute. I tried to play nice. We had this deal in place at the draft. You acquire Vinny Trocheck, and now you're vulnerable, and I want Barrett Hayton. So you pull out late like that, then there's going to be some serious payback. So that's interesting, because it's now openly reported. Our group had heard rumblings of this earlier in the day. So it's interesting to see that that's
Yeah.
now out there publicly. So it could be a factor, right? How do you know?
Yeah.
Before I take advantage of you, I'm giving you an opportunity to make a hockey trade. So it's up to you whether you do it or not. Dylan Larkin remains with the Detroit Red Wings, and that might be the least surprising thing coming out of the day, based on what we heard from Steve Yzerman, right? And he essentially said, look, he's not willing to stretch that list out a little bit more. We've got to do what's in the best interest of the Red Wings organization, not Dylan Larkin. So if we don't find a deal, he better be in training camp or else. And the or else would be, they suspend him. I doubt it gets to that, but it does have a bit of a marathon feel to it now, doesn't it?
Well, it does be all of these potential moves that may or could happen once the pressure valve gets released, which is draft picks July 1st. Now there's no urgency to any of it. Like whether if Dylan Larkin's a Detroit Red Wing on July 15th and August 15th and September 15th, who cares? Steve doesn't. Yzerman doesn't. Larkin does. Nope. And when I say Yzerman doesn't, he would obviously like to get this cleaned up, but he's got to put together a team. And if Larkin's not part of it, Larkin's not part of it as much as he would like him to be. But Larkin's going to get to the point where, like, this is the thing. You can say you're going to hold out, but your other option is you actually have to hold out.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and collect dust until the team makes a deal. Eventually, the pressure will go to the player to open up the no trade list. Eventually, he'll have to open it up.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, because if there's no deal to be made with the teams you've provided for your employer, they don't have to trade you. And then you've got to go to work. And if you don't go to work, you collect dust.
What are your thoughts on the work of Billy Zito? We've talked about so many general managers here and the good stuff that's taken place over the last number of days, man. He's like a mad scientist in Florida, isn't he? He just, I think they got to a place, Ray, where they were willing to go 2 years with Bobrovsky and 6.5 something, or maybe slightly less than 6.5, but they didn't want to give up the extra year and all of that. So he finds a way to make the deal for Jacob Markstrom. And I mean, Brady Tkachuk obviously kind of landed in his lap as that often does with those destination teams. But if Florida can stay healthy, does that team, based on the changes that you've seen of late, automatically return to top contender status? Or one of the top contenders?
Well, 100% they do. When I saw that they signed Gudas, my first thought is that's like a chain gang.
Yeah.
Like how many minor penalties will they commit in the midst of a game that you can only call so many? I mean, they play. So you're going to have, I thought of it as this, Strengths, a forward like me. I'm a competitive guy. I like to go to the front of the net. That's where the goals are. On their, because I wouldn't have played against their top pair a lot. I would have been playing against the second and third pair, right? That would have been kind of where I would have played against. So you've got that lumberjack, Nico Mikkola, would be on your second pair. And then the butcher on your third pair in Gudas. Like, where's the fun against those guys?
There.
Oh man, they are going to be so hard to play against. But there's a pattern here. If you follow Bill and the Panthers, the last 3 years, they had Nate Schmidt in their third pair. Then Schmidt signed a deal and left. So they brought in Jeff Petrie for that same spot. That's their third pair right-handed D. And then Petrie left. And then they brought in Gudas. Like, they target shop because they're good. They can target shop exactly what they're looking for. They want to be tough. They want to be rambunctious. They want to be intimidating. That's a really, really good team. And I think they're one of the very best. I'll be really interested to see if their goalie department, Rob Tallis is the head of it as the goalie coach, can they tighten up the game of Jacob Markstrom? Because Markstrom does get loose, pucks go through him too frequently for a goalie of his caliber. I'll be really interested in Florida's system. Can they tighten Markstrom up? Because to me, where else is the weak link? I don't see it. That's an excellent team.
We'll leave it with this because we can go on and dissect every team. And it's still relatively early in the offseason, but there's been so much, transition and change and all of that, just division by division. We don't know officially that Alex Ovechkin is retiring, but by the work done by Chris Patrick, the general manager of the Capitals, you certainly get that sense, don't you? And Noodles and I and O-Dog were going through the ads and what that forward core especially looks like in Washington. I mean, it's just a collection of redwood trees. I mean, they're just this
giants,
ginormous group.
They are freaking giants. So they go get Boone Jenner, and he wouldn't be especially big.
No.
Next to the rest of these guys, and
he's like 6'1", right? He's not small.
But he's 200. He's 210 pounds. Yeah. But they are absolute monsters. Now, I don't know if the younger Protus is ready to play.
But if they got
the two of those guys, they're both 6'6". How big's Pierre-Luc Dubois? Is he 6'4"? Gotta be.
Yeah, like 6'3", 6'4". Yeah.
Right. So then they've got two other forwards. One of them just had a really good year in the American League and in the Ontario League as well. They're both 6'5". They're gonna have one of those height things like at the circus that you can't go on the rides. I always had to stand on my tiptoes to get over it to get on the ride. And they're gonna be like, if you're shorter than this, you can't come in.
Jeez.
But what are they doing? They are big and tough, and they prevent goals. And to get out of that division and that conference, they have to fight with Florida. And I don't think you should copy other teams. You should build with what you have and build around it. Washington is big, and they are skilled, and they have some talent, but man, they're not going to be pushed around. This is in my mark. This is a one of those teams I'll say is a contender. They're very good, very good team.
All right. Anything you want to get to before we wrap up the headlines?
I would say coming out of the draft, everybody was pretty excited about San Jose, and they should still be. I mean, so last year they had Kiefer Sherwood for a couple of picks because they ended, they had, I don't know how many draft picks that they had, but they had Kiefer Sherwood. Today they had Mason Marchment. So to go with some of that skill stuff, they had Nurse. They've become bigger. And
Trouba,
Trouba, San Jose and Anaheim are going to be problems in the Western Conference there for the next who knows how long. But those teams they're on the up, man. They're impressive to watch what they're accumulating.
Yeah, and your point was well made earlier. I mean, it's July 1. San Jose still has plenty of ammunition left. I mean, teams throughout the West and the East, there's still opportunity for them to improve either via trade or some of the remaining free agents. All right, those are your headlines. Thank you to the Canadian Brewhouse. All right, Raymond, what's on the docket? Family trips. You and Cammie and the boys always have a real nice family trip planned for the summer. Sometimes
not
it's
happening this year.
No,
not
everybody's
happening
too
this
busy.
Year. No.
Yeah.
So we've got next week. Our youngest guy Reese has the provincial soccer tournament for his age group. So we're over on the island and take the ferry over to Victoria and go to his tournament. Then we come back the following weekend. Riley goes to college again, year 2. This one, he's transferred to Loyola in Chicago.
Nice.
So so he'll go there. We get back from there. That takes us. Now we're kind of late in July, so we got about 3 weeks. We might do something there because August 17th, I'm going to Ireland to play golf with our tour group there that we've
Yes.
been around, and the commissioner has put together a pretty sweet trip. So we're going to go to Royal Dornoch, and we'll finish in Liverpool, and hope to get a Prem game at the end of August as well. So, but I think those last 3 weeks of July, Cammy and I'll try and do something. But man, the family gets busy in a hurry.
Now, are you, when you go overseas, are you hoping that the wind just howls and it rains and you just get the full ugly experience, or you want it as nice and calm and perfect as it can be?
That's what I'm hoping for. It's never that. And some of the guys are like, "Oh, isn't this great? The wind's really kicking up a fuss." Well, who the hell wants that? I'm not good enough to play in that. So, we are going to play 308 holes in 11 days. So it is man, we're getting to business here. You gotta get sharp. Got to get the game in order, Drakes.
Yeah, and there's no money change hands here. No, this is all just above board, playing for fun. You're competing with one another, but none of that. Yeah.
You couldn't get this group to cross the street if there wasn't a little cash on the other side. So we will get in there and play a little bit. It'll be some fun. Now you, of course, off to the Cabbage.
Yeah.
Hope everything sorts out itself out there weather-wise, and you guys have an amazing summer. Don't send us any ridiculous pictures like you normally do.
I mean, you have to be honest. I haven't sent any smoked meat photos or any of that. I'll send you some fishing pictures. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can hardly wait for that. Throw me the one with the line dangling in the water. That's so exciting. I can't wait for that. This year. How about this year though, Drakes? If there's a bear within 15 feet of Holly, maybe let her know before the bear gets, like, you taking the picture of, hey, look, there's Holly, and oh, look at that, there's the bear in the same picture. I don't know.
I mean, it didn't look that dangerous at the time. It looked like it was relatively harmless. I mean, it is standing on its hind legs. It didn't look too ominous. That was fine. All right, buddy. Well, safe travels along the way. Best to Cammy and the kids. And can't wait for season 8 of the Ray and Dregs podcast as we drift into hiatus here for the summer.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for listening again. It's been awesome doing the pod. Drake, you're the best. Ryan, thanks for everything. Zuby, you're the king, man.
Yes, Zuby.
Have a great summer, everybody.
Yes, and thank you to our sponsors, Ray, as you identify. Tim Hortons, our title sponsor. Thank you. Thank you to the Canadian Brew House, who weekly has helped us through the headlines, and they have been really beefy, I would say, over the course of the year. Thank you to Ryan and Randine at Rev Media. Until next time, that is the fall next time. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great summer.